Hi, I'm Cindy Flaherty-Stam. I've been studying bottlenose dolphin social behavior for over the past 20 years. My research has taken me to populations at zoos and aquariums here at Brookfield Zoo and at other facilities within the U.S., but also to wild populations of dolphins in Western Australia. Some of the key things that I'm interested in finding out about would be the social interactions of dolphins. What types of interactions do they have with one another? What kinds of things do they need to learn as they're growing up in order to be successful, healthy adults? With our population here at the zoo, we can get some insight into dolphin behavior that's not available to us in the wild. We have underwater viewing windows that allow us to see every single interaction, even the subtle ways in which a dolphin might touch one another, the different ways that they might posture or position their bodies as they interact with one another, which can help us to better understand what the meaning of these interactions may be and how they develop these long-term social relationships. Our research in the wild also offers us information that we can't necessarily find here at zoos. In the wild, our dolphins have the entire population of dolphins to choose to associate with. So we can look at how things like family relationships are important. Do moms and babies hang out once they have reached maturity? Do fathers and daughters spend any time together once they're into their teens and 20s? These kind of questions can be answered by looking at long-term research where we're studying the same population, the same individuals, day after day, year after year, to begin to understand the larger picture of how dolphins interact with one another. And those lessons are really important to bring back to zoos and aquarium. We want to be able to produce populations here that allow dolphins to learn what they need to learn from other dolphins to become successful adults. One of the important things that we're doing here at the zoos, in association with many other zoos and aquaria, we're trying to establish a population of dolphins that maintains a large variety, a genetic variety within the population. Currently, we do not collect dolphins from the wild. So what dolphins are here at the zoos and aquaria across the U.S., we need to maintain that maximum diversity by trying to have animals that are the least related to one another breeding. So the goal right now with zoos and aquaria in the U.S. is to take males and females that have been wild caught. These animals were caught in the 70s, 60s, some animals in the 80s. It was in the 1980s when the zoos and aquaria stopped collecting animals from the wild. We want to try to maximize the genetic diversity in our population and also provide our juveniles the social learning opportunities that they need in order to become healthy adults. So by tracking the paternity of all of the dolphins born here in the zoo, we're able to identify to whom they're related and try to make sure that any future breeding occurs with distantly or non-related individuals. So currently we try to have all of the wild-caught males and females. These are males and females that haven't seen wild waters since 1980 or 1970s. We want them to breed as often as possible so that we can get their genes into our overall gene pool. But we want to make sure that the combinations, the males and females that are given breeding opportunities, are as distantly related as possible. For animals that have been born into zoos and aquaria, we want to know exactly who their fathers are. We know their mother, who their mother is, of course, from the moment of birth, but the fathers are sometimes a question mark. So we would like to analyze them, do some paternity tests, so we know who's their daddy, so that we know who they would not want to be bred with. So we need to know those, even those relationships, brothers, sisters, cousins, because that is an animal that might have similar alleles, especially for recessive disorders that could lead to some, potential weaknesses or health concerns for those animals down the line in the future. By having animals that are more distantly related breeding together, we can maintain that diversity within the gene pool. So who's your daddy is a really important question for dolphins at zoos and aquaria.
He's right there in the center with Andy. His name is Chinook. Let's hear it for 31-year-old Chinook. unique hunting behavior shown to us by Allison as she makes her way to the front right side of the pool. It's called slide beaching, and you'll see why. Don't worry if you missed her, she's making her way next to the left side. Now this time, imagine she's chasing a school of fish onto a sandy beach. Dolphins do this. They chase the fish onto the beach, grab the fish in their jaws, and stealthily slide back in. Let's hear it for Allison.